Hello everybody, and this is my first challenge video for the Ottomans. This is my second challenge, and I've been following a lot of y'all's recommendations and commentary, and it seems to me that the best course of action for the second challenge will be the Ottoman Naval Piracy Challenge, and I'll kind of get into an explanation of what this challenge is. But first, I'll go over the specifications for this particular type of game. Of course, we have it set to Archipelago for the naval-focused theme of this challenge. The map size will be set to standard. I've moved the difficulty up from King to Emperor, as I have not really played Civilization too much in the past few months. I feel like Emperor will be a very good difficulty to play on, considering the constraints of this challenge. And I'll get into those constraints here in a little bit. I'm set to the game pace to Epic as opposed to Marathon or Standard. I believe that Epic kind of gives you that good middle ground between having your units become too outdated versus having your units last around forever. And I'm just going to the advanced set to show you guys exactly what my parameters are here. I'm not cheating or anything like that. This is all normal with the exception of I got rid of the time victory. I think that's a bit lame. It basically means that you end up winning the game just because of your score, so we've gotten rid of that. All the rest of this stuff is fairly standard. Complete kills, of course, is nice. Quick combat and quick movement. And I've also enabled random personalities because I kind of think that spices up the game a relative amount. So now that we've gone through the settings of the game, let's go ahead and begin. And I'll go ahead and kind of describe exactly what it is that this challenge is and what this challenge isn't. Basically, this challenge is going to be a complete naval challenge, and what I mean by that is that I will be founding my city along the coast. This is a pretty relatively decent start. Of course, it would be better if I was closer to that mountain over there. I might move, actually, because of course the mountain start does give you a scientific boost later on when you get observatory. Should I move? That is the question of the day. I think I'm going to move my capital. So basically what this challenge is that I'm only allowed to recruit one naval unit using my city. So in this case, it will be a trireme. And using this one naval unit, I will be basically forced to recruit an entire navy from my prize ship promotions, which is, if you guys have seen my Germany No City Challenge, it is relatively similar in at least theory to this challenge, but instead of recruiting a barbarian army, I will be recruiting a, I guess an unwilling navy. I mean, similar to what the British Empire did with impressment, which was the policy of actually recruiting sailors by taking them captive off of enemy ships or slave trading vessels. Really, this has nothing to do with what I'm talking about, but I'm just kind of getting into setting the tone, if you will, of what this challenge will be about. So basically, I'm going to try to achieve another domination victory, this time, of course, with a harder difficulty, and with the added challenge of only being able to use my navy. I can't use my army for anything other than defending my cities, so I won't be recruiting that many I guess, military units that are land-based. But now that we are no longer playing the Germany No City Challenge, I can actually make settlers, which I will use in strategic ways to create more and more cities, I suppose, for science, gold, and production. But because I can't recruit any naval units, it'll kind of force me into making a bit of a unique decision when it comes to city building. Of course, you guys can see my home island over here. It's really isolated, which means that I will have to be researching naval technologies a little bit faster than I usually would in most games. Of course, instead of opting to go for the scout as my first production option, I've opted for the worker, as it will not be as easy for me to steal workers when they are located on islands other than my own. So in the meantime, we will be ending our turn. This will be a very interesting challenge. For those of you who have not played the Ottomans or are not aware of their unique ability, prize ship promotions only applies to melee naval units, and I believe it gives me a 66% chance of, when destroying that unit, to actually then be able to capture the unit. So it's pretty nice. Of course, we are going to go down to sailing, so we need pottery. Getting sailing fast will be of paramount importance to the challenge, as building up my navy will be important in all eras, especially once the eras become later on and we get battleships and all sorts of things like that. Of course, these range units will not have the prize ship promotion, so it'll be important for me to keep melee naval units and all sort of the different eras that I will be doing. You guys might be aware of the prize ship promotions in the privateer unit, which is available, I should say, to all factions. Of course, we just came into contact with Poland. I don't really know how or really where they came from, but they're there. So very interesting. And because we can't really build anything else, a monument might be nice, although I usually go down tradition. So in that case, I mean, it's a bit ridiculous. I mean, I hate to do this, but making a second worker or even a settler at this point might make the most amount of sense. I think I'm going to go opt for a second worker, which I will then change. I will not approve of this. I don't like to send out embassies unless I can get a other embassy in the exchange, so we will wait until we unlock writing before we embark in this trade. Of course, they are ahead of us. That's not really surprising, considering we do have the difficulty up a notch. We will be building a granary, which will be immensely useful. And not a lot of access to sea resources. I would have normally have rushed, or at least tried to focus on a little bit of religion. But there's not really much of a point here in rushing that early game religion. So instead we will just be sitting here, ending our turn, and talking about the future potential, or I guess the future strategies that I'll be employing here. Of course, not all civilizations will play fair ball, meaning that some civilizations will have their cities inland from the coast, but we'll worry about that later. I mean, I really hope that most of the cities that I come into contact will be located on the coast, so that I can use my impressed sailors that I've no doubt taken involuntarily to actually take over cities using this. We have our first barbarian naval unit over here, which is fantastic. Hopefully they'll stick around and we will use them in the coming time when I actually have access to naval units, which will be very, very soon. Of course, after I research this granary, or I should say produce this granary, I will be making my first ship, which will be a trireme. We're going to continue to end our turn. Not a bad start scientifically, though. I mean, this island has lots of access to spices. We're next to a mountain. I mean, it's not a really bad area, if we're going to be honest here. Nope. So now that we've researched sailing and we have a granary, it is time to build our first trireme and research writing, as I do not want to be falling behind technologically here. Pretty soon I will also be making my first settler. And I know you guys, some of you anyways, might have seen my multiplayer videos. I don't really wonder Horror quite as much in single player, just because the AI has certain advantages in higher level play. And, no, we're not, sorry man. We're not really quite at the top level play yet. I mean, of course, we're not in Deity, but for a challenge game to play on Deity, or really anything above Emperor, is a bit foolish. Just because I won't be able to win by the same victory conditions as the AI opponents I will be playing against. We will be racing against the clock against perhaps Korea or other scientifically minded civilizations. Really, our goal is to wipe out everybody before they have the chance to become somebody. So, with that being said, our first trireme is about to be unloaded. After this trireme goes off into the, comes off of our docks, remember I will no longer be able to make any naval unit whatsoever by production. Instead, I will have to steal all of the naval units I will be using in the future. So with that being said, let's go ahead and work on some more buildings that we can use. In this case, it'll be a shrine. I mean, like I said, we don't really have a lot of use for religion, but at the moment, that's a pretty good call. Of course, once we can embark and have optics, I will be making some settlers that we can send off in various directions. It seems that the Polish are to the northeast. Let's go with oligarchy. I'm really looking forward to the free culture building that you get later on from tradition. That's why I really like tradition. I know a lot of you guys think that you know, liberty works really well, and it might work really well for you, but you know, I haven't really had much use for liberty. I'm not a really big fan of it. To cut down these trees require a lot more than just calendar. So let's go ahead and work on remove jungle. This will probably be our best bet at the moment. Maybe even optics will be, but for starters, let's work on animal husbandry so we can work on that cattle tile over there. And here I am just looking around for barbarian naval units. I guess I don't want to go too far all out, just because the more naval units we have, the more we will be spending on their upkeep. Let's see if we can't get a resource out of this. Okay, we have 2 axes of silver. Very nice. They've accepted. And Poland is on a coastal tile, which is very, very good news for us. We might forward settle them, as their island appears to be a bit bigger than ours. Remember how I did say that I will be using various warriors and melee units to defend my territory. I'm not going to be using that as a weapon to achieve, what do you call it, to achieve military domination. That will only simply be through defense and all that great stuff. I will be using my navy as the weapon of the Ottoman Empire, with our glorious leader of Suleiman, who has a pretty damn nice turban, if I do say so myself. You know, in most games, I'm sure I'm not alone when I say that you spend most of your time trying to avoid the barbarian units, especially those pesky naval units that bombard and blockade your city and perhaps even, you know, ruin your strategic resources. They're really annoying. But in this particular game, we will actually be doing quite the opposite and going after these units. I'm going to rush optics to try to get the Great Lighthouse now. I didn't even realize that that was a possibility. Like I said, I'm a little bit foggy on this game just because I played the game on my height, I should say, back when it was Gods and Kings. Of course, that is long since but past. We are a little bit bigger than Poland, which makes me think that Poland is an expansionist AI, perhaps with already a second city. We don't know at this point, though, so really we're just speculating. We have come into contact with Kamehameha, who of course is in a very good position with this particular type of map. And I still have yet to come across that barbarian galley that passed my borders earlier. Perhaps we can come into contact with it soon. But I'm also getting some pretty good information on Poland and the Polish territory right across the river from me. And what should we work on next for our production? Perhaps we should go with cargo ships. I mean, there's really no limit, I guess I should say, on cargo ships in this particular series. I didn't really establish any type of limitation on that. It's not a military vessel, so it shouldn't really be much of a problem. It'll give us more money, which is good, and we can even trade with Poland for the time being. And we've come across our first barbarian trireme, which we have just captured. Our mighty navy is now 2 ships, which is fantastic. And we will send back the recently captured ship back to port in anticipation of its, I guess, healing and, I guess, readmittance into the fleet later on, once it's fully healed. Of course, I don't want to go all out in this barbarian whacking, I should say impressment campaign. We don't want to incur too much debt, as I was talking about earlier. That would not be good. We've came across another city-state, very nice. And optics has almost been researched. As soon as we get optics, we will switch our production to the Great Lighthouse. As you guys can see, it's very, very good. It gives my units 1 sight and 1 movement, all my naval units. That's going to be very, very important in this particular playthrough. And so we get that next turn. Very, very cool. We've entered the classical era, very, very nice. And we've gotten our first free culture building. And now that we're here, let's go ahead and work on bronze working so we can cut down these jungles, or as I call them, jangle, and work on our great lighthouse. Now, let's see if we can switch to production. Perhaps this will speed things up a bit. Not by very much, and it'll reduce our growth. Really, it's only 2 turns. I think we should just go with the standard production option and kind of scout around this map looking for more and more barbarians. The more we can find, the better, of course. More embassies is good for us. It's also bad for us, but we can find out where the, I guess, the other civilizations are. It appears that the Kamehameha is to the east. And just, you know, I guess for reference, I will be healing both of these units to full health before sending them back off again. We really can't hire any more naval units, so it's important that all of our naval units are really well rested. It would be a tragedy to lose out so early into this challenge. Really, it would. And after this lighthouse goes up, I'm thinking about seeing a settler over here. A lot of access to ivory, which would be really, really nice. Another luxury resource we do not have access to. But once again, I do not want to piss off Poland too much. You know, if you forward settle the AI too much, they can get quite aggressive and do the dreaded coveting your land thing. I mean, I'm sure you guys have all came into contact with the so-and-so covets your land. It's really, really annoying. We've all been there. Or at least all of you who have actually played Civilization. Super, super annoying. So it looks like there's more barbarians in this island. This island might be suitable for colonization. And we've come across Mount Sinai, which is quite nice. You know, I actually might send my next settler up here. This is a really nice looking area. Of course, I will need optics first, but that'll be the next order of business, so to speak. Getting bombarded by an archer. What's new? And some more ancient ruins too, which will be nice. Once again, when I get optics, I can go over there. Be really, really nice. More and more ruins. That's fantastic. I'm going to try to get my naval unit out of here. It's getting bombarded quite a bit, and that's not good. Where is optics? Let's go ahead and work on that. We already actually have optics. I am a dumbass. What's new? So let's work on calendar and go ahead and send our intrepid explorer off and getting all of these nice little ancient ruins that are strewn about the map, starting with this one over here. It's a little bit faster. We really have no other use for that melee unit in this particular moment in time. And I'm really interested in selling up here. Mount Sinai is great. It gives you 8 faith. That is phenomenal, really. And yet another ruin up here. In the future, I might work on some more military units just so that I can scout about and get access and grab, or I should say grab more of these ancient ruins. That'd be very, very helpful, of course. But for the moment, we are just taking a look at everything we've got around us. Seems Warsaw has quite a bit of points. I don't really know how. From technology, it would appear. And from technology. Okay, cool. Now that we can cut down trees, we will start cutting down this because it gives us access to spices, which we will need in the future. And I'm going to go ahead and send back the damaged trireme back to port side. It looks like we're getting really, really close to that great lighthouse. If I can snag it, it'll be game-changing. But if not, we'll get a few gold out of it, so really it's a win-win. Of course, I'm now cutting down this jungle to get access to spices. And we've come across Greece. Normally this would be a very bad thing, but because we have random personalities, it's not too scary. We come into conflict also with Carthage, which is a tad more scary, as their unique ability is fantastic and phenomenal for this particular type of map. Should I accept that? No, I'm not going to. I think I'm going to deny embassies at this point, just because we don't want everybody to know where we are. We are, of course, at a disadvantage by being a player in a map where AIs will be getting lots of advantages. Although, from what I've heard, a lot of AI actually really suck when it comes to Archipelago. They simply don't have, I guess, the capacity to reason with ships. But, you know, now that we've turned up the difficulty, perhaps that will help them out quite a bit. I would really like to also get the Colossus, but it's not a primary concern of mine. In fact, it is of tertiary importance to the Great Lighthouse, which is far, far more important at this point. So we're going to go off of the ocean over here and this direction. I should probably have a naval unit kind of near my warrior to provide it with cover so it doesn't completely get screwed up on its way to the next ancient ruin. As it moseys its way on over there. And we're going to send this other trireme in that direction while we scout about using this other one. It looks like we've come into contact with Greece over here to the southwest, which is really, really good. And nobody, as of yet, has taken the Great Library, or I should say the Great Lighthouse, which is really, really good news for us. Very, very nice. The next tech we will go with is probably, I like the wheel because it gives us access to the water wheel, or the water mill, I should say, which is phenomenal. Yeah, let's go ahead and go with the wheel. Of course, the next thing I will be going down is a settler, so that we can go ahead and settle this fantastic island with Mount Kailash and Ivory. That'll be my next, I should say, goal in this Let's Play, to build up my production base. Even though production will be used only on buildings, wonders, and, I guess, melee units, like military units that are not naval related. So, let's see. We do have access to silver. Perhaps we should go with... You know, Sacred Paths would be pretty nice, because I have a lot of jungle over here. I might go with that, or one with nature. If we got faith from natural wonders, that would make Mount Sinai even more insane. Let's go with... Sorry, I am actually trying to figure out what the best course of action is here. I think the best thing we could get is Sacred Path. That'll increase our culture by quite a bit. Let's go ahead and take that. Already a +2 culture increase. Very, very nice. A very, very versatile choice. And the Great Lighthouse has almost been completed. We can only cross our fingers at this point that nobody else will snipe it from us. More and more city-states that we are coming across. Only one more turn. I really hope I can snag it. This would be very, very nice. I'm not really quite sure what this ruin gave me. I wasn't really looking, to be honest with you guys. But there's yet another ruin right across the way. Fantastic. Let's go ahead and go with Monarchy. We will get the other one later on. We are swimming in happiness right now, ladies and gentlemen. This is very nice. 13 happiness. We will reach a golden age very, very soon. And of course, the Great Library was sniped. But we got what's even better, which is the Great Lighthouse. Phenomenal. Very, very good choice. Hopefully that applies to all naval units. It does. Very cool. And we even got a free lighthouse out of the deal. How sweet is that? Now we're going to go with a settler in hopes that we can reach this island before Poland does. It has access to ivory and incense. Really, really good deal. We want to make sure that we get this ancient ruin before Kamehameha does. And we come into contact with Ethiopia, who already has their second city up, it seems. And usually this is a trick that I use. I set production when we were making a settler because there's really no point in having growth when you're making a settler, just because that growth will not affect you in the process of making said settler. It's just a strategic choice that I generally go with. We're going to map out this entire world pretty soon, it seems. Yet another barbarian encampment. Fantastic. We are not going to do that. Sorry. Neither with you either. And neither with you. So we see Corinth. Very cool. Also a coastal city. And we're going to need a warrior to clear this encampment up here to the north. I'm going to go ahead and send my unit up that way. Just so we can kind of, I guess, defend said settler when the time comes. What would be the fastest way about doing this? Going this way, apparently, according to the Civilization GPS, which is absolutely unreliable, guys. I mean, Civilization GPS, even worse than Apple Maps. But at this point in time, I think that we can, you know, at least sort of trust it. No. Okay, cool. For a second, I thought we were locked in there. That would have been terrifying, really. Another wonder, this time Mount Fuji. Really, really cool, actually. I mean, I could set up a city over here. I could set up a city in the north. Why not both? I just don't want to you know, make my domain too big to the point where it's going to be hard to defend my territory. The next thing we should work on, I think, is probably going to be ironworking, so we can snag the Colossus if we are lucky. But if not, that's fine. We are not going to do that, but we can trade you silver for, you know, really anything you'll give us. Will you give us cotton? Nope. Will you give us ivory? Nope. Will you give us 5 GPT? Yes, you will. Okay, that's good enough for me. So, I'm not coming into contact with any barbarian naval units, but don't despair. We should come into contact with something pretty soon, with any luck. Doesn't look like we can send our melee unit that way anyways, it would appear. So that was all for waste, really. See, I can't go that way, so we're going to go back this way. It'll just take a little bit longer, but I will be defending our unit the entire length of that journey. I think in the meantime, we should hire another, I guess we'll just go with a spearman, or really even a watermill, but we can go ahead and produce that next turn, or at least when we can produce things next. A spearman, this will allow me to clear the barbarian encampment in preparation for Edirne, which I believe is the second city for Turkey. And Denmark has been discovered. Very cool. How do we stand on the global scale? We are, of course, the lowest ranked, but that's not too surprising, really. So as our warrior makes its way back to Istanbul, we will be on the lookout for any other ancient ruins we might come across. In the meantime, another city-state that we can find. Should we team up with Poland? You know, why not? We know we need friends. I know military alliances and civilization are fleeting at best and backstabby at worst, but, you know, maybe, just maybe, we can get lucky in this regard. I'm finding a lot of wonders, as you guys have noticed already, I'm sure. Really, really cool. Do I yes, okay. I've actually changed my mind. I need to defend this warrior on his way back because he's going to pass by a barbarian encampment, which more than likely will have a barbarian naval unit. Found Quebec. Very nice. And we are going to end our next turn. Just like that. And we're going to send you off to the next island. Get you up to speed with the natives over there. And if only there was a wonder that I was really interested in. You know, normally Temple of Artemis is a good pick. I am just not really in a Temple of Artemis sort of mood tonight. So instead, we will be sending our settler up north to the Mount Sinai Wonder. Or, you know, honestly, would it make more sense to send him over here with Mount Fuji and wine? Or would it make more sense to send him up here where there's really a lot more luxury resources? I think I'm just going to send him north for now. We'll send another settler over there perhaps later. I really don't want to make more than 4 cities in this particular Let's Play, but we will find out as we inch our way across the map. My alarm is going off, but I'm not going to end this particular Let's Play until we have established our second city. No. Unlike other YouTubers, I like to, you know, kind of sign off of my videos in a more logical place and not just, you know, wherever the timer stops. You guys mean a lot to me, and I don't want to give you guys substandard content, so we will continue until we have a more natural or logical ending to the video, which in this case will be the establishment of the second city. But we're off to a pretty good start. I mean, I think you guys would agree with me. This is not quite a terrible or even substandard start. Really, like, it's not too bad. I mean, of course, we're on the bottom of the leaderboard, but in the higher score bracket, that's to be expected. And we've come across our first, I guess, border that we can't get across. So we will go back. A lot of these AI look to have already 3 cities up and operational. Not good news for me, but, you know, we'll get there. Sending our naval unit north, as with this settler as well. This will be a great city. I'm gonna, probably call it Sinai, just because that's a bit fitting. Where to settle it though? We really want it to be on the coast, so what would make the most amount of sense? Normally, I would like to settle it. I think I'm going to settle it southwest of the Elephants. That'll give me access to floodplains and, of course, Mount Sinai itself, while also giving me access eventually to the Incense up here in the north part of the map. So we're going to do that. And still no sign of any barbarian units that we can take, unfortunately. But a barbarian encampment. And I have to say, barbarian encampments have kind of lost their wonder to me after conquering thousands of them in the Germany No City Challenge, which was quite fun. I mean, if you guys haven't seen the challenge, I really recommend it. I had quite a bit of fun playing through that. But I was ready for a new challenge, and this challenge seems to be a bit more challenging and a bit more redundant. I mean, challenging. Let's hope it's challenging, right? I mean, it is a challenge. Right, so we've killed this guy, and we will be selling our city next turn, which is cool. We get ironworking 11 turns, which means that we need something less than 11 turns, which will be a cargo ship. Because like I said, I will be trying to make the Colossus, which is a fantastic wonder. Really, really cool wonder. And a unit promotion, which is nice. And our second city of Edirne, which is in a phenomenal position, really. I like to keep my cities close by. Eventually, Warsaw will probably be the first, I guess, foreign capital I take, because look at it. I mean, it's right in the middle of this nexus of cities that I seek to create, with Mount Fuji being, I guess, the southeast modifier, or I guess outlier, I should say, with Warsaw in the middle, maybe another city over here in the kind of region northwest of these ivory elephants. Honolulu might get ideas, but I think they're on a different island, which is nice. We're going to go ahead and start off this guy up here with a granary, as they lack access to a lot of food potential, just by virtue of the fact that they are on a desert. And we will purchase for them a worker to work their tiles. That'll be, of course, necessary in the days to come. I hope you guys enjoyed this first edition of the Ottoman naval. I think I'm gonna go with the pirate challenge. That sounds kind of cool. Yeah, let's go with the pirate challenge. Thank you guys for watching the first episode of the Ottoman pirate challenge. I'll see you guys on the next video. It'll be out very soon. And yeah, thanks for watching.